Now, in part 1 of Popcorn Pandemonium, is it possible to pop popcorn with an explosion?
I love to watch this barking. You know, going to the movie theaters is one of my favorite things to do, but what does this have to do with the myth?
Well, the fans love popcorn as much as I do, and they've sent in a ton of myths about popcorn.
Yeah, like what?
Pop popcorn with explosives.
Now, how's that supposed to work?
Explosions generate a lot of heat, and the fans think that is just enough to pop popcorn.
Cool.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
Popcorn and its distinctive explosive expansion is a ready-made recipe for myth and disaster. And the fans want to know, can you put the pop in popcorn with a bang?
Okay, so popcorn with explosives, how are we gonna test this?
Well, this myth comes in a whole variety of forms. Everything from a torpedo hitting a container ship full of popcorn to an industrial accident at a popcorn popping plant.
Whoa, what are we gonna do?
I think we should take our favorite explosions from our favorite myths, apply them to popcorn.
This is gonna be fun. Oh, this is the part when she dies.
Despite the various outlandish sources for this fan request, the basic premise for each is the same. Heat and pressure from an explosion causes raw popcorn kernels to cook in an instant. To test this one central theory, the team is taking 2 classic blasts from the past and reigniting them at the bomb range. And first up,
Now, we do have a myth from James Bond, and that is the exploding propane tank.
This doesn't pop the popcorn, I don't know what will.
Strap some C4 onto a propane tank, put some popcorn kernels on top, and see if we get this rain of cooked popcorn. Now, we know that heat is what causes popcorn kernels to pop into popcorn. I mean, you could do it on your stove. And I think it's fairly likely that the size of fireball that we'll get will generate the sufficient amount of heat to make something pop.
so will the explosive C4 and propane cocktail cook the corn? Or will it simply be shaken, stirred, and sprayed shrapnel-like all over the bomb range?
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Wow.
That was some heat. You think we pop popcorn?
I don't know.
That's the burning question. But up at the corn carnage epicenter, the signs aren't good.
I see a lot of unpopped kernels on the ground.
No popcorn.
Nothing?
Nope.
There's more foil over here.
It seems the force of the C4 explosion and the rapidly expanding propane fireball distributed the raw kernels far and wide, without actually cooking and popping any of them.
My propane popcorn empire! Why?
So propane did not pop the popcorn. All we had was a big fireball, which is what we expected, but that somehow wasn't quite right in order to pop the popcorn.
I don't think there was quite enough heat, and it wasn't sustained for long enough for the popcorn to actually pop. I think we just kind of blew it out everywhere.
All right, what's next?
Kettle corn?
Creamer cannon.
Yeah.
So far, popping popcorn with explosives is not looking good.
That didn't work very well. It didn't work at all.
The extreme expansion of gases typical of an explosion is simply distributing the kernels over the bomb range without cooking them. But our intrepid trio have yet to light the fuse on their final conflagration.
Of all the fireballs that I've seen from explosions that we've done, Creamer Cannon has given us the most slow fireball. It goes into the air and then... And we're gonna have the popcorn kind of mixed in with the creamer.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Hopefully kettle corn. So maybe the sticky creamer will stick to the popcorn, creating that heat for long enough that we'll get kettle corn.
Big Boom aficionados will have noted that technically this won't actually be an explosion, But in the mythical scenarios, a fireball could easily have been the causal factor in the reported popping of the popcorn.
Yeah, we're good to go.
All right, we're ready to light the flare.
Okay, I'll see you behind the blast shields.
Let's make some kettle corn.
I'm ever the optimist. I think that this actually has a chance of working.
All right, you guys want to run?
I do.
What happens is you launch the cannon, the creamer
All right, we're
and
lit.
the corn goes up in the air. The corn's surrounded by fire. Somehow, it's going to make us kettle corn.
Ready to go.
In 3, 2, 1. Whoa!
You know what I saw? A bunch of burning.
Something.
Look at all the burning kernels.
I think there are kernels up there.
Let's see if we got some popcorn.
The fine-grained creamer once again proves extremely flammable, leading to a satisfying fireball. And there appears to be flaming food falling to the ground.
We popped popcorn.
It's corn flambe.
It's burnt, but look.
No, that's just burnt creamer.
That's not popcorn?
No, I don't
No,
think we
but I
popped
saw it
any
rain
kernels.
down. Unfortunately, it was just little bits of creamer, but there was such hope there for a minute. I thought we actually did it.
My kettle corn empire. I'm wrong again. So we've got a lot of non-dairy creamer and a lot of unpopped popcorn kernels. Maybe there wasn't enough heat, maybe it wasn't there for long enough. I don't know. But what I do know is that we don't know enough about popping popcorn. So we need to go find an expert.
So with the myth looking pretty much busted, it's back to the shop where Kari meets a popcorn professor.
Now, we've been trying to pop popcorn with explosives, and I'm wondering if we just don't have enough heat generated. Why do you think that it's not working for us?
Popcorn pops best at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. When the popcorn is exposed to that heat, the moisture inside the kernels expand and expand like your grandmother's old-fashioned pressure cooker until finally there's enough pressure to break open the kernel, and what you're eating is the starch that has been condensed inside.
That's the key. A popcorn kernel is basically a pressure vessel made up of 3 layers. The tough outer shell, the starch-filled middle layer, and the small central germ. Add sustained heat, and the moisture in the center turns to steam. This heat and pressure gelatinizes the starch until finally the shell bursts. As the steam is released, the starch cools into the fluffy white ball we know and love.
So let me get this straight. The explosives didn't work because we didn't have any of the right circumstances. You're saying we need 450 degrees, even heating, over a period of time more like a minute before we can actually get the popcorn to expand. So there's really no way for us to flash heat and have explosives make us popcorn.
That's my understanding.
Basically, explosions, conflagrations, and combustions like these are just never going to pop your corn.
Well, as exciting as that was, we didn't really pop any popcorn with explosives.
Well, there's one more myth I really want to test that the fans sent in, and that's why I brought you here to the movie theater.
Which one's that?
Well, do you remember a little movie called Real Genius?
Yeah, patterned my life off of it.
Do you remember the last scene in the movie? A laser pops an enormous amount of popcorn in the house, blows out all the windows and the doors just from the power of popcorn.
And that's what we're gonna test?
Yep, that's what we're gonna test. Check it out.
A template for Grant's life, a monument to geekhood, and a source for this myth. Can a 5-megawatt laser really cook a gigantic ball of popcorn? And can the expansive power unleashed really bring down the house?
All right, well, first we need to see if you can even pop popcorn with the laser.
And we need to characterize the force of popping popcorn.
Okay, well, let's start out with some due diligence. Before we unleash the power of popcorn on an actual house, how about you and I go check out a military spec laser, see if it pops popcorn, while you run some tests on force and expansion.
All right, let's go.
I can't leave yet. The credits are rolling. People work hard on this.
We didn't work on this, did we?
My kettle corn empire! Why?
Our intrepid trio are looking into unconventional ways to pop popcorn. And as anyone with access to the internet will know, there's one method that the conspiracy theorists just won't let go.
So we're doing myths about popcorn. When are we doing the one about the cell phone cooking the popcorn?
Actually, we're not doing it.
We're not, but that was one of the biggest viral videos. You put 4 cell phones around some kernels, you get them to call each other, and then pop, 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 pop.
I know, but that one is busted. So totally busted, that's just not worth our time. Look, we already know that it takes at least 220 degrees to pop popcorn. And while cell phones do get hot, they don't even approach those temperatures. Forget about your brain frying, your hair would catch fire.
But some people say it's the radiation from the phone that causes the popcorn to pop.
Again, total and utter nonsense.
So we're not gonna test it.
We've got a choice. We can either sit around a table with cell phones and popcorn and watch nothing happen, or we can try and pop popcorn using explosives and lasers.
Good point, let's get back to it.
All right.
And to test this popcorn-themed scene from the silver screen, Kari and Tory go back to school because they want to know if there's any science at all in this science fiction sounding scenario.
Now what we're trying to find out here is, can you pop popcorn with the laser? And if so, could you do it from a plane?
I believe that they're both possible, just a matter of how much laser power you have.
Now how realistic do you think the laser in the movie was?
5 megawatts is a stretch. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a stretch even for chemical lasers, which typically operate, the highest power is about 100 kilowatts. I don't think that a 5 megawatt laser is around the corner just yet.
Now, one serious question that Grant wanted me to ask you was, how close are we to lightsaber technology? Oh, that's classified.
So, as unlikely as it sounds, there's a kernel of truth to this myth. And for proof of concept,
Here is my popcorn kernel. There we go.
they've got a 10-watt laser pointed right at it.
We're popping popcorn with lasers.
Looking at the thermal camera, I'm seeing a tiny bit of heat at the top and the bottom of the kernel, and they're expanding very slowly.
Now, I'm pretty sure this is not how Mom used to make it.
This is how Grant's mom used to make it.
Proof of concept.
Well, now that you can laser pop popcorn, let's just concentrate on the power of popcorn.
That is cool.
Let's go.
Pretty good.
In part 2 of Popcorn Pandemonium,
We're popping popcorn with lasers.
Kari, Grant, and Tory have discovered that, just like the myth, you can actually cook popcorn with a laser.
Proof of concept.
So now all we need is a 5 megawatt laser, and then we can finally find out if popcorn can break down doors and windows.
No. In fact, 100 kilowatt is the most powerful you're gonna find, and that's even in military applications.
Yeah, so basically, we're never gonna find a laser big enough to pop a house full of popcorn.
If we can't get a laser, we can substitute another heat source.
Already on it, induction heating. We just have to switch out the tinfoil for some sort of steel container.
Sounds reasonable to me.
So did you ask him about that thing we're talking about, the laser sword?
Actually, I did. And guess what? I got a prototype right here. There you go, buddy. Don't turn it on inside. I said don't turn that on inside. You gotta cut somebody's head off.
So out goes the science fiction-sized 5 megawatt laser. And in comes a giant steel frying pan heated by electromagnetism.
So we're trying to find out, does popcorn have the expansive power to blow open doors and windows of a house? Now, we know in theory that a laser can pop popcorn, but there's no way we're gonna be able to get a laser powerful enough to pop a whole house full of popcorn. So I'm gonna make a frying pan. And not just any normal frying pan, but a giant steel electromagnetically heated frying pan. This is gonna be crazy.
It's a big pan, but it's not house-sized. And that's because the second change to the movie scenario is one of scale. The team are starting small, with just one window.
Now in the movie, the weak point was the windows. So I'm constructing a window, putting it in a wall, making that the lid for our pan. Now if this myth is true, popcorn should pop like crazy, pop with mythical power, bust through the windows and spill out everywhere.
That's the setup. And inside, Grant is using his
Apply the Jedi Mind Force.
mind to crunch the crucial numbers for the expansion potential of popcorn.
So the popped kernel has an increase in volume of approximately 30 times, which is pretty good.
Next, he uses the force gauge to measure the pressure of that expansion.
Rise, popcorn, rise. Push on the plate and give us force.
Which turns out to be 0.22 psi.
Which may not sound like a lot, but over a large surface area, that could end up being a lot of force. But we won't know for sure until we try it full scale.
So we're about to heat up the pan to cook the popcorn. Now, the way we're gonna do that is we're using an induction heating system. And how that works is there are copper coils underneath the steel plate, and they send out a high frequency AC current. Now that current creates a magnetic field which will move the molecules around in the steel. As those molecules are moving, it creates friction, which creates heat. And that's how we're gonna cook our popcorn. In essence, we're making a giant skillet.
So now we're gonna coat the bottom of the pan with coconut oil to spread the heat evenly.
Ew, it smells like popcorn.
And then fill it with 3/4 of an inch of popcorn kernels.
According to Grant's earlier calculations, 3/4 of an inch of kernels should expand to over 20 inches. And with the window a mere 6 inches above the uncooked corn, we're all set to find out if popcorn has the power to break out.
So what we're looking for in this experiment is whether the force of the popping popcorn will actually break the window.
Okay, it's on.
Now, in my earlier experiment, I found that the popcorn generated 0.22 psi.
Now pop it! 1, 2, 3! Yeah! Woo! Go! Come on, break the window!
Which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but consider this is a relatively large surface area. The window's over 1,000 square inches, which means potentially 220 pounds of force.
But despite a stirring effort,
Break it, Grant! Now's your chance. Show us what you got, boy.
the popcorn fails to make an impression on the window. And it never will, because confining the popcorn while it's cooking prevents it from popping.
So it looks like most of our kernels popped, and you might be thinking, well, if they didn't bust through the window, why don't they just add more popcorn? But there's actually a maximum amount of kernels you can use before not only does the compression start making them pop smaller, but everything just burns. This is the most popcorn that's going to pop in these circumstances.
So it's a catch-22. Putting pressure on the popcorn means it doesn't pop and can't exert that expansive pressure. But the guys aren't giving up yet.
We do know from your experiment the pressures that the popcorn should exert. So what if we took the cooking out of the equation, used pre-popped popcorn, and applied our own force?
Yeah, then we could see if the popcorn is strong enough to break out of a house.
Or whether the kernels would simply crush under those conditions.
So back to the drawing board?
Yeah.
Kari, Grant, and Tory are asking, can popping popcorn blow out your house?
It's kind of tinkling against the window. I thought they'd be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Large-scale cooking didn't work, so they're taking heat out of the equation to focus on the expansion potential.
Now, what we do know is that if you can pop popcorn, it does exert a certain amount of force. It gives us a PSI 0.22. So we're gonna try this experiment again, but in a different way.
We're gonna take a bunch of pre-popped popcorn, fill a house that we build, add our own pressure, and see if the popcorn is enough to destroy the house. Ah, that kettle's hot. Am I missing an eyebrow?
So if you could harness the expansive power of popcorn on a movie myth scale, this test will show us what damage it would do. They're going to fill a house with pre-popped popcorn and push against it with popcorn power, 0.22 psi. Will the popcorn crush in on itself, or will the house blow out like the myth suggests?
We've done the calculations. To fill a house that is 6 by 6 by 6 feet, we're going to need 30 55-gallon garbage bags full. So we've got 6 popcorn poppers all popping at the same time, and we're working around the clock so we can fill the house.
After the corn mountain peaks, Kari's 4-legged vacuum cleaners move in, and the team can move on. And with a house built to code in fast forward, Grant steps up with a larger-than-necessary piston to apply the popcorn power.
Ta-da! I'm not compensating for anything. So I'm standing underneath what would be the floor of our house. We're gonna fill up the entire house with popcorn, and then this cylinder is going to push up.
Oh, yeah.
It fits. Now, initially, it's going to be just the popcorn force, just to see if under ideal conditions, if we popped every kernel, what would happen to the house? Would it push up and blow out the windows, or would it do nothing?
And with all of the pre-popped popcorn emptied into the house, what's next?
Next step is to fire up the cylinder, raise up the platform so that the popcorn is at roof level.
I'm gonna close up the house.
Okay.
Set the PSI to the popping force of popcorn, and then we are ready to begin. Here we go. Pumps on. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, so this is regular popcorn popping force. 3, 2, 1.
It's moving.
Yeah, slowly moving. Hear the creaking?
Yeah. Something's gonna give. Is it the popcorn? Is it the house?
As it turns out, neither. Popcorn power, which according to Grant's calculations is 0.22 psi, and exactly the pressure exerted by the piston, just isn't enough to do any damage at all.
Went up an inch, but now it's stopped. I think it's done. Popcorn power is not strong enough.
All right.
So basically, the expansive pressure popcorn exerts doesn't come close to denting the door or windows. And that means...
I gotta say, this part of the myth is looking busted.
Yep, busted.
Yep, busted. But you know what? We still have a house full of popcorn. I say we max it out, see what happens.
I wanna see what's gonna go first, the house or the popcorn?
Do it!
All right, let's wreck this house.
With Grant's piston cranked to the max,
3, 2, 1.
this test is a transparent excuse to destroy stuff. The only question is, will the popcorn crush into dust, or will the house come tumbling down? And as it turns out, the popcorn wins out. Or at least Grant's giant piston did.
It wasn't really popcorn power. That was how many tons of force?
15.
So it was really just popcorn as a spacer.
Yeah.
So popcorn power didn't really destroy the house.
No.
But that was cool!
It's been a long and winding road for this popcorn parable. Kari, Grant, and Tory have discovered explosions won't pop your corn.
That didn't work very well. It didn't work at all.
But lasers will. However, a giant ball of corn popped by a 5-megawatt laser, leading to a house explosion, is pure fiction.
Busted.
Yep, busted. Now our house hasn't exploded yet, and this myth calls for an exploding house. So we're out here at the bomb range, and this is the plan. We're gonna load it with C4 at the top and the bottom. When this day is over, you should see splinters and popcorn, and that's all.
I don't think they taught me this in bomb school.
Well, we started with a bang, we're ending with a bang. So basically, we've got a boom popcorn sandwich.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
In 3, 2, 1.
Look at the rain of popcorn coming down.
The rain of house, too. Whoa. Now that is exploding a house with popcorn. Well, not really popcorn, with C4 surrounded by popcorn.
You know, to get this result, we had to go very far away from popcorn power. It didn't really push up on the house, didn't blow the windows open, didn't really do a whole lot.
Popcorn power turned out to be science fiction. This explosion, real genius.